The Spaza Shop Support Programme has assisted more than 6,000 Spaza shops with funding worth 58 million rand, according to the Small Business Development Ministry. The scheme was announced during the COVID-19 pandemic to provide economic relief to SMMEs, Spaza shop owners and other informal businesses in the form of loans, grants and debt restructuring. Small Business Development Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams joins Full View now. Good evening, Minister, and welcome.
Good evening, ma'am, and thank you for having me.
So let's start out with the definition of the township economy. There seem to be some divergent views on what it actually comprises. As per your department's research findings, who does it encompass?
Well, for us, all township-based businesses are part of township and rural businesses because they operate in the townships. That's what we define. But of course, we also look at the turnover that they make over the year, which talks to the different segments that we have anyway when we talk about small, micro, medium enterprises. Therefore, it's no different if you are a medium business, if you're a micro business, as long as you operate in the township, you are a township business.
Okay, so then, well, thanks for that. So how did the funding allocations work? We talked about there in our introduction, just over 6,000 businesses benefiting from the 58 million rand. Given, you know, the variability around who's eligible, roughly how much did some of these businesses get and what was the criterion used?
Well, probably let me put it into context that as the portfolio, we provide funding for township rural enterprises. And then under this program, we have different segments, as I indicated. The Spaza shops, for example, that you are referring to, are a component of the TREP program, which is the Township Rural Enterprise program that we're talking about. Under the TREP, the entire TREP, the cap is 1 million rands. But for the Spaza shops, we go up to 15,000 rands, of which 70% of that is a grant and 30% is loan-based. And then you have the segment of the informal traders at the level of the hawkers who receive a sum of 3,000 rands under the scheme that they belong to. And all of those are segments that are under the TREP program that we're talking about.
So now that we've established the eligibility, part of the drive has been to ensure that these are South African-owned enterprises, if my understanding is correct. How do you verify, Minister?
Well, definitely SEFA is one of the agencies that is registered with NCR that must be compliant at all times. Therefore, there's due diligence that is taken before we fund the agencies, which is why most people complain about the fact that we take too long to approve their applications. We've got to make sure that you have a valid citizenship in terms of you being a South African. You've got to make sure that at least 70% of the workers are South Africans. And we work hand in hand with Home Affairs and other departments because we have seen how people have cheated the system, but also we are noticing the influx of those that are trading illegally in the space that we are responsible for. Our responsibility as a DFI under the portfolio is to provide support to South African-owned businesses as SEFA. Then you can get others accommodated at NEF and the other DFIs. But for SEFA, we have to provide support to South African-owned businesses. And this is the work that we do daily, making sure that we undertake the due diligence that verifies that indeed you are a South African. But I must tell you, I'm not going to say that it's been smooth because we have found in certain areas where people pretend to be a Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, they go and apply whilst knowing very well that they are paid at the back of whatever that they do. And therefore they are fronting. And these are the things that we then get to discover every time we're trying to follow up. And we have offices that we are following up in different provinces where we've realized that such instances are taking place, which is why we always call upon all South Africans to be honest to themselves and their country first.
I mean, how prolific is this? And I want to use the term fronting for this specific scenario you've just shared with us.
It is there, although we have not really managed to quantify it. We got those reports, which is why I said the team therefore must investigate. Once we're done with the investigation, we'll be able to come up and say, this is how far the stand has gone, or this is how far we have been able to discover those that are involved in the scheme.
Importantly, Minister, how do you promote diversity and scalability? And let's just talk about the Spaza Shop suite of offering, you know, in terms of support in administration and sustainability.
We provide pre-investment support through our business development agency, which is called SEDA, which is why if you look at the scheme that we're talking about now that focuses on the Spaza shops, we've been weak in terms of providing effective post-investment support. The reason we believe that it is important that we provide the pre-investment support is for the fact that if you have never carried so much cash in your hands or have had so much stock in your own Spaza shops, it means that you've got to be made ready, which is why we also have to help you with compliance matters so that you are able to be compliant in everything that we want. But having given you the money, we also have a responsibility to make sure that you do not fail in your business, thereby providing mentoring amongst other schemes, that other interventions that we provide, and any other thing. If we're looking at the Spaza shop, for example, we did provide some training on business management, including bookkeeping, wherein they must keep their records so that they can be all the times we need the information, whether it's banks or whoever they go to borrow money, they can be able to provide evidence that indeed they traded and they're able to carry so much money in their hands.
And yeah, that's something I think that a lot of people could potentially relate to, and that's why that early support is so important. What research and fact-based position is your department working from to determine where the needs are and where the successes are? So what research studies can you share with us that the department has already embarked on that can show beyond just the disbursement, the success of the program?
CIFA recently conducted a research. I'm sure you may have had when we had the CEO, when we were talking on the impact of load shedding on small businesses. It was because of the interventions on the research side to check what are the issues that are affecting small businesses. What is it that we have not done well as government, and where do we need to improve? This helps inform the interventions that we are providing. Again, if you look at the World Bank report on SMMEs for 2022, they stipulate clearly in terms of what are the causes of failures, whether it's startup level or at a micro level. And these are the things that we are looking at. When we conducted another study with the assistance of the European Union through the EDSE, which provides funding to us as the department and the Department of Agriculture to look at capacity building, we also discovered that the issues of red tape that are being raised are at the center of the challenges that are faced by small businesses, which means we have to review the packages or the criterion that we are coming up for the interventions. This is why, as things stand, if you apply for funding at CIFA, before they decline you if you are not meeting their standards, they tell you why we are declining you, and therefore SEDA must take over in order for them to assist you to be able to comply if it requires business development support. But if it is something that requires you as a business owner, we then send you back to say, go attend to ABCD so that you can come back and apply for the funding that we provide.
Minister, thank you very much for talking to us this evening. Appreciate your time. Small Business Development Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams there, just giving us the latest on these disbursements of funding for the small and medium enterprises in what's termed the township economy.